EAGL teams competing tonight on the first weekend in March. This is how you know it's getting serious, just 2 weeks away from the conference championship. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kevin Kopp alongside former NCAA gymnast Casey Addis. Casey, we've got a great tri-meet tonight as Temple gets ready to host GW and Towson. 3 conference rivals all squaring off. Again, just a couple weeks away from seeing these teams compete for an Eagle championship. And it's March, it's the end of the regular season. Everything just seems to take on added meaning right now.
This is definitely the meet where they're going to want to show what they're going to bring into the postseason. So it's a big night for all 3 teams, going to give them an idea of what they're going to see during the championship. So they're all looking to hit their routines tonight. This
is a double weekend here at home for Temple. They'll be back Sunday for their senior day against LIU. We'll be back with you as well right here on ESPN+. We hope that you'll join us then. This is the 3rd home meet for Temple. It is just the 3rd meet overall for GW. They're trying to get their legs underneath them. And you have a Towson team that has not qualified for NCAA regionals in decades, and they are in prime position to do that right now, number 31 in the nation.
It is impressive what they have done this season, and, you know, talking to GW's coach, knowing that they're looking to just get another meet under their belts, and Temple's looking to hit tonight. So it's going to be important for all of them, but we're going to see some great gymnastics.
Let's take a look at the Eagle standings. We'll kind of set the table for how things shape up entering tonight. You see Towson there in 2nd place right now in the Eagle. Jay Ramirez has done a great job with this incredibly young team. They've been into the 196s this year. You see Temple right in the middle of the pack right now. We're going by NQS score, which is a little bit different this year. 4 scores, 2 of which have to be road scores, and you do not drop anything. You used to throw out the high score. That is not done anymore because of the shortened season. And you can see GW right now, they only have 2 meets, not enough to qualify for an NQS. They've got some busy double meet weekends coming up. They are going to have a qualifying score, and we'll see. This was a team that, when the season ended last year, they were number 36. They were going to be the last team into regionals. They've got 8 seniors. They want to get back there again this year as well.
Yep, they're going to look to get some good scores for the remainder of the meets. It's going to add a little bit of pressure on these gymnasts, but I know that they're excited just to be out here and able to compete tonight.
Temple is right on the NCAA bubble right now. They are ranked number 39 in NQS. The top 36 teams qualified to regionals. As we said, Towson is on the right side of that equation right now. They are number 31, and they have got it going with the team almost exclusively, it feels like, made up of freshman and sophomore routines. They have done incredibly well with their underclassmen, and as we get ready for the first rotation here, we are going to have Temple going in home order tonight. They will start on bars. They'll start on vault, rotate to bars, beam, and floor. GW will start on bars, beam, floor, and finish on vault, and Towson will start on beam. They will go to floor, vault, and finish on the uneven bars. So, Casey, our disclaimer that we always like to throw out when it is a multi-team meet, when we've got 3 teams going, everything's happening at the same time. We will do our level best to keep you up to speed on all the scores, all the routines that you won't want to miss, but we will have every routine covered, and so you can kind of choose your own adventure at home and check out whatever you want to, as we are already underway with GW on bars. Towson is on the beam, and we are getting ready for Temple to start on vault as well. So here we are, triple box, top right, you see a stuck landing. How about that to start off your meet for GW? That is Olivia Raymond with the hit routine on bars. Lauren Bolin at the bottom of your screen is leading off on beam for Towson. And in the top left, the Temple Owls will be led off by junior Taylor Newland, making her debut in the vault lineup.
Now, this will be important for them to start off strong, especially being a new person in the lineup. This will be the vault that will get them and their team rolling on this event. And here she heads down the runway. Yurchenko full twist, very nice vault, slight pike down, but overall the form in the air and the height off the vault was excellent.
And so with that, we are off and running. Following Newland on vault for Temple will be freshman Renee Shugman, senior Faith Leary, junior all-arounder Juliana Rowland, junior Ariana Castrense, and sophomore Madison Brooks. We will see 2 exhibitions tonight from 2 Temple freshmen, Mia Rose Thaxton and Mackenzie Aresta. The GW lineup on bars after Olivia Raymond got things started will be Anna Warhol, Deja Chambliss, Rachel Kaplan, Olivia Zona, and Hannah Munnelly is in the anchor spot for the Colonials. And for Towson on beam, Following Lauren Boland's routine, freshman Sarah Giroux will be second, freshman Allie Zolke third, sophomore Jenna Wheats will be fourth, Emerson Hurst, the upperclassman, the junior, will be fifth, and a freshman anchoring beam today for Towson, Cassidy Stewart.
And a nice start on bars there for George Washington, a 9-8. Talk about getting the team ready to go.
And that is a new season high for Olivia Raymond by a full 10th and a half. Her previous high score, a 9.65. So, man, you get that stuck landing. That really sets the tone for the night. And following her will be senior Anna Warhol trying to keep it going for GW.
Starts with her free hip handstand immediately into the ginger, directly into her bail. So very quick there with all her movements. Looks to finish up. Decent handstand there, not too short. Winding up for a nice double layout with a full out, which is one of the hardest dismounts you are going to see in collegiate gymnastics. Small hop back, but a very difficult routine.
Just remember, and I know we mentioned it at the beginning of the broadcast tonight, we can't say it enough times, this GW team has competed twice this entire year. They opened their season on February 12th. Scored 192.950 at Towson, follow that up with a 193.6 on February 19th, and then they were off last weekend. So here they are again. I mean, in a sport that needs consistency, that needs repetitions, I know that nobody has gotten them the way that they normally would, but 2 meets and we're in March, I mean, that is really, really tough.
That is very hard mentally for these gymnasts when you are used to going weekend to weekend to weekend competing, and college gymnastics is made of that consistency. So it's definitely difficult, but they've done a lot of pressure sets in the gym, which has definitely helped them, and it's proving on bars.
Temple opened meanwhile with a 9.575 from Taylor Newland. And we are still waiting, it looks like, on an opening beam score. You know what, that's fine. It gives us a chance to catch our breath a little bit. Slow going in the first rotation isn't bad. 9.7 is the opening score for Lauren Boland.
And a nice start for beam. That is the type of routine you want to start with, a solid hit routine and a nice score.
So here we go. Second beam routine is Sarah Giroux, the freshman, and then freshman Renee Shugman on the vault for Temple.
Has a nice Yurchenko half, almost too much power, stays in that piked position a little too long, then laying it out. So she did have a big hop forward. So there will be a deduction on that landing.
You can see the scores updating in the bottom right corner of your screen. Our reminder that they are unofficial, and we'll keep you updated throughout the evening as we see Giroux complete her series on beam.
Standing tucked to that straddle quarter, a little bit of a wobble in between, not too sure if she will get that connection. And finishes up with that aerial to that back full dismount, very nice landing.
So meanwhile, GW back on bars with junior Deja Chambliss.
Goes into that nice ready to start. Handstand into her bail to handstand. Looking to finish up this routine. Winds up for her dismount. Got that blind full into that double back. Pulls it out, slight hop backwards, but another nice routine for for Towson.
No, you had it, George Washington. You had it the first time. 2 9/8s, by the way, for Raymond and Warhol to start the meet, and so Chambliss brings GW halfway home on bars.
I will say this is likely one of the slowest vaulting scores that we've seen come up.
Yeah.
But hey, the fastest event gives Beam some time to catch up.
Though they are going 8 tonight, so you know we could move it along a little bit.
Very true. And yet when you have those exhibitions, it does add a little bit of time. But again, we've talked about this throughout the season. It's a great chance for those gymnasts to get some of that competition experience under their belt. Yeah, 2 freshmen tonight in the exhibition spot for Temple, as it's going to be a 9.45 for Renee Shugman. Definitely not the scores they're looking to start off their vault lineup with. They're going to need to build a lot towards the end of this lineup, but really focusing on those landings are going to be key for them moving forward.
Temple is without Caitlin Gray tonight due to COVID-19 protocols, and so having to find some depth, and I mean, it's what teams have dealt with all year, and you know, this is why coaches, and every coach I think we've talked to this year, Casey, talks about depth, you know, in any season, and certainly in this year. And right now, you've got GW wearing it out on bars, back-to-back 9-8s, and then a 9-8-5 from Deja Chambliss. On vault now, senior Faith Leary.
Very nice in the air. What we're seeing is a lot of these piked positions in the air coming down a little bit too soon and making them take that big step. So very nice vault, but she's still going to get hit on that landing.
On bars now is senior Rachel Kaplan for GW.
A little bit of an issue on her bail, had to drag her feet a little bit, but looking to wind up for this dismount. She's got a full out, is able to get that to her feet, chest down. Not going to be their top score of the night most likely, but overall a nice routine for GW.
2 left for the Colonials, Olivia Zona and Hannah Munnelly. And we're going to have, speaking of delays, the judges getting together over on beam to talk about Sarah Giroux' routine, and I would imagine, if anything, deciding whether or not to give her that connection.
Yeah, she did keep moving, but it seemed a little bit slow on her trying to adjust her feet, so it's likely one judge gave it, the other did not, so we'll have to work that one out.
Temple, meanwhile, has their high vault score of the night thus far. It is a 9.65 from Faith Leary. Still, to your point, Casey, not what Josh Nielsen is probably wanting to see from his team on an event where they're really strong. They're 34th in the nation on vault.
Yes, this is an event that they definitely rely on for some of those high scores, so they're going to need to make it up on bars and beam tonight, which is definitely going to be their testy event for the evening, but you know, they're going to continue to build through this lineup. We know we have some nice vaults coming towards the end, so they're going to look to really pick it up for that.
Yeah, Temple has been an ace floor squad. That has been their strongest event by far, so they'll get to finish there, obviously, being at home, which the Owls hope will help them out, but they've put themselves in a little bit of a hole thus far, and now we'll get our first look at junior Juliana Rowland. Transfer out of Bridgeport, and boy, how good has she been in her first season for Temple.
Such a key for this team, and really we're going to see a very nice vault from her if she does anything like she's been doing. A nice, beautiful Yurchenko fold. The form in the air is exactly what you're looking for. It does have that hop back, but really the best vault we've seen so far.
I called her an all-arounder as I was doing the lineup. She is, by trade. She is not tonight. She's going to exhibition on bars. So we'll see her in all 4 events, not technically in the all-around. Temple does have their other junior, Ariana Castrense, who will be up next in the vault lineup. She will be in the all-around tonight.
It will be great to see what Rowland does tonight on the bars, because we know she has capacity to do that all-around. It will definitely help the team. So having 2 all-arounders at that strength will be great.
This has been an eternity for freshman Allie Zulke to wait on beam. That is so tough, I'm sure. You're standing on that island, you know, trying to do whatever you can do.
I will say that is one part of gymnastics I do not miss. That wait before the salute is just, you're trying to keep your mind off of things, but as she gets ready for this routine, looking to keep some of that mental strength. And a nice series to start off. Right into that switch leap. To her split 3/4, slight little wobble, but is able to save it. It's a unique type of side aerial there. A little bit of a check, but again, keeps it moving. A lot of good gymnastics going on, as we can see. A beautiful vault there for Temple. A very nice routine for Towson there on the beam, as George Washington looks to wind up with a blind full double back. 3 made routines. Great gymnastics overall.
And for a moment there, you almost forget that we're doing this in an empty arena and we've got no fans. It was nice. You get some volume, you get some energy back in the building. That was a good moment right there. So to Casey's point, Juliana Rowland did deliver the high vault score so far for Temple, a 9.775. We'll see if Kostrense can build on that score with her really nice Yurchenko layout full.
Yes, that height she gets on that vault, you can obviously tell that there's more to come with that.
Yep.
So hoping to see, potentially that double full by the end of the season. But definitely a good idea, keeping it safe with a great vault tonight.
Yeah, I mean, that becomes the calculation, right? At this point in March, you've got a few meets left. At what point do you upgrade that vault to the double, get that 10-0 start value? And she certainly has the power for it. We're going to see a 9.8 for Kostrense.
Definitely what the team needed tonight, that is for sure. So that's going to help build that overall vault score for the night to be closer to what they're going to want.
Well, you can see over on the bars window in your screen that 9.375. That was the low score for Kaplan. So we're still waiting on a score from Olivia Zona, and then hopefully one more hit routine here for sophomore anchor Hannah Munnelly, and GW can drop that low number. Let's get ready to finish on vault. Sophomore Madison Brooks
has a little bit of trouble on that landing, just didn't get that block off of the horse that she was really looking for, had to sacrifice some of that height in the air. So overall, not the start that Temple was looking to have as they head to an event that they're really going to need to forget vault a little bit and very much focus on the bars.
Yeah, it means that they're going to end up counting that 9.575 almost certainly from definitely from Newland, and maybe even that 9.45 from Renee Shugman. We'll see how this scores. Meanwhile, on beam, this is sophomore Jenna Wheats.
A beautiful front aerial to flutter kick. You see a nice Maloney there, right into a free hip handstand on bars. Very nice routine. Finishing up on bars with a double back to a nice landing. Great bar rotation for GW. They'll be able to drop that low score. And as we look over on beam with a nice full dismount, just about a stick, a little bounce at the end, but another good routine for them.
Yeah, and we need to shout out Allie Zolke, who, as we said, had that, really long wait, and then you're following, not a fall, but a 9.475, certainly, not the routine that Towson wanted there. She goes out and hits a 9.85, new career best for the freshman Zolke. Meanwhile, Madison Brooks scores a 9.35. That's the score that will be dropped for Temple, so the number you see there on your screen, 48.250, is where Temple will stay put. Here is the first of two exhibitions.
Just a little bit of a delay coming off of that vault. Definitely a tough landing. Not exactly what you're going out and hoping for when you are an exhibition, but again, a learning experience, a chance to get that vault under your belt. But not the easiest way to start it out.
That is freshman Mia Rose Thaxton, and we will also have a second exhibition vault that will be from another freshman on this Temple team, Mackenzie Aresta. The beam routine from Jenna Wheats got a 9.9 from one judge, 9.7 from the other. That'll drive you crazy as a coach. Even though it works out to a 9.8, which is just fine for Wheats, but
it is tough. The judges definitely see different things. Yes, but that was a beautiful routine, and these scores are definitely what Towson is looking for, especially at this time in the season. They are just proving some of their capacity and what talent that they have on this team, and as we mentioned, a young team with so much potential.
I am so impressed by the work that Jay Ramirez has done with Towson. It is one of, I think, the great stories in this kind of bizarre season of college gymnastics. There's a lot of teams that are in the mix right now that have not been to regionals in a long time, and I mean, they're only 5 spots off the bubble. I'm sure they're not feeling too solid, but I mean, this is just such a great team. They have been consistent throughout the season, and all the best to them.
And a beautiful back handspring layout step out. The form in the air, the look of her toe point. This is a beautiful beam worker. You can definitely tell. She goes into switch leap, very nice. Front aerial, split jump, absolutely beautiful, very confident routine. She's going to look to finish with that punch front full. Little hop forward, but absolutely gorgeous. That is the type of beam worker I personally love. Great form in the air, beautiful toe point. Exactly what they were looking for towards the end of this lineup.
Yeah, and again, this is a team that's going to rely so much on their freshmen and their sophomores. When you have, one of your upperclassmen, a junior like that, Emerson Hurst goes beyond just a great beam worker, which she is. She's, one of the leaders on this team as well, and she showed it there. That was a really confident, really well done beam routine.
Yes, and Jay Ramirez said they were a little bit inconsistent on beam last year, and he recruited very heavily for beam, and it's definitely showing right now.
So we've got one beam routine left, and that will be freshman Cassidy Stewart for Towson.
They're going to feel good about that score again with a 9.85. And,
they'll have a chance to improve here if Stewart can hit, and they'll drop that earlier 9.475 from Giroux. Stewart has already scored a 9.9 in her young career, so she's got great skills on beam as well.
Starting out with that full turn, she'll get some of those nerves out as she begins this routine. Heading into her series. Handspring layout, step out. Save that. Did show a little bit of nerves there, but was able to save it, so she'll want to keep that under control for the rest of this routine. Got that front toss, and that beat jump, very nice. That cat leap into that switch side, nice landing. She'll look to finish up this routine with a nice dismount. Goes into that round off, 1.5, hop forward. There is a chance that will score higher than the other routine, so that might cause some improvement for the score, but overall, a very solid beam rotation for Towson, and just can see some of the talent that they have.
Yeah, great start all the way around. GW knocking it out on bars. Towson goes 6 for 6 on beam. Temple, a little bit of a slower start, picked it up with some big scores from some of their upperclassmen in Roland and Castrense, but the Owls here at home will have some work to do as they open in third after one rotation. We'll step away and come back with your first rotation highlights as Temple will head to bars, GW to beam, and Towson to floor when we continue here on ESPN. Philadelphia Federal Credit Union. A look inside McGonigal Hall, the sanitization process as well. It is 2021, and here we are. Now we've got a packed house, 3 teams, Temple, Towson, and GW. Here are your scores through one rotation. The Colonials in first, 48-925. You get just their third meet of the year, and they had a great start on the uneven bars. Towson not far behind, just a 10th and a quarter at 48-8, and the Owls have a subpar vault. They open with a 48-250 in case there's some work left to do for the home team.
Definitely. They're going to look to go to an event that has given them a little bit of trouble this year, but they do have the potential to hit. And then, as you said, George Washington only on their third meet of the year, just shy of that score in the 49 range, which is really what they're going to need as they finish out this season. So good gymnastics overall, and a lot more to see here as we finish out the next 3 rotations.
Let's take a look at our highlights from rotation number 1, and there were plenty. And we will begin on vault. Temple again, 48-250 overall. So not the start they wanted, Casey, but they got some good performances, and they turned to their upperclassmen, Juliana Rowland and Ariana Castrense, for some big numbers.
Yes, they were able to finish out with some of those scores that they needed as they move forward. So that was great for them to see as they head to their next event.
And on the uneven bars, I mean, you could take your pick here for highlights. GW, they came out of the gate, back-to-back 9.8s from Raymond and Warhol. That really set the tone.
You can tell that what they've been doing in the gym when they weren't competing has helped them here, because they had some incredible gymnastics, some really difficult skills, and hit routines.
And then on beam, always tough to start on beam as the road team. Towson draws the balance beam, and again, great start for the Tigers. They look poised from the opening going, and they got a couple of 9.85s, one from a freshman, Ali Zolke, and then their junior, Emerson Hurst.
Yes, a event that you are happy when it is over, but you can tell that it did not bother them any, and they were able to hit some of their routines and show some confidence on the balance beam.
So now Temple goes to bars, GW to beam, and Towson to floor. It's not really fair to say there's a strong event or a weak event right now for GW. There's only 2 meets. The sample size is too small. But I think it's interesting that statistically you get what has been Towson's weakest event this year here, and they're 34th in the country on floor. They're doing just fine. But Temple bars has been a bugaboo all year. This has been an event that's really bothered them, and they've got some demons they need to exercise here on the uneven bars.
It's true. They are looking to finally hit what they hope to be 6 for 6, if not at least 5 out of those 6 routines, be able to count no falls. And that's, something that without a doubt these gymnasts are going into the event knowing that, they have a little bit of pressure on them, but they are trying to do their best, most likely to put that out of their mind and hit some of their bar routines.
Yeah, Temple has only gone 6 for 6 on bars once this season, and that has been a thorn in the side of Josh Nielsen, who is the head coach. He's also the bars coach, and he has owned it. He said, I'm glad it's my event that is the one that we're struggling on, because I can dig in the gym, work with them on practice, and I know he has confidence in this lineup, and I think it's a matter of when something does go wrong, do they have the mental fortitude to put that aside and not let one fall become 2, become 3?
Yes, and that is without a doubt the hardest part of gymnastics, especially in competition. So they're going to look to really keep that mental strength on par tonight.
And we do have a lineup change for Towson on floor, as they have taken out Emerson Hurst, their junior, who is going to anchor. They have replaced her with freshman Sarah Giroux. So we will monitor that situation as we get underway. Top right of your screen are the Temple Owls on the uneven bars, and they are led off by senior Jordan Oster.
And Oster starting off with a nice Tkachev into that blind half to bail. Very nice.
In the top left of your screen is Towson. Lauren Bolin is the sophomore lead off on floor.
As Oster finishes out with that blind full double back, slight hop, definitely the lead off that they were looking for. So we look onto floor, a beautiful double back with an extremely solid landing, no movement there. That was very nice.
And now opening up on beam for GW is junior Olivia Zona.
Bolin into that second pass, is able to keep it in bounds. Slight issue on the landing, but saves it nicely. And Zona over on beam, handspring layout, step out, stays on the beam, questioned herself a little bit, has a slight wobble.
A nice recovery from Bolin on her final pass. Front layout, front full, no problem there, and so Towson's got one in the books.
Zona winding up for her dismount, round off to 1.5. Is able to get the stuck landing. Very nice. 3 for 3 on each event as we head into our next bar routine.
This is freshman Serena Whalen after an opening 9.675 from Oster.
Beautiful handstand into that Tkachev. Form on the bars is very nice. She's winding up for that full out dismount. Slight step backwards, but beautiful hit routine.
I think it's really interesting, Casey, you mentioned, everyone getting that first routine out of the way. I feel like these coaches more than, every coach likes to talk about their openers, but that was really a theme, as we talked to these coaches about, Temple actually made a change to put Oster there as a senior, leading off on bars, knowing the steadying presence she brings. I think GW feels so confident in having Olivia Zona as their leadoff on beam. That's probably the most critical of your leadoff routines, and I just thought it was a really interesting point. And we talked about even in that first rotation, those first routines really set the tone for better or for worse.
It does, and it is a gymnast that the coaches need to have confidence in because they know it's going to impact the rest of the team, the rest of the lineup. So they've definitely picked wisely here. It shows that they are coming in confident, and now they can continue the lineup in hopes that it will keep following in that way.
9.675 for Oster on bars, 9.675 for Bolin on floor. We are getting a beam score momentarily for Olivia Zona. It is a 9.575, so work to do for all three teams to build off of that.
Yep, a slow start, but definitely some improvements to be made throughout.
9.825 from Serena Whalen, so the freshman continues to impress on that event for Temple. And up third, senior Tori Edwards.
Nice to Kachev. You can see GW over on beam finishing that series right on the edge of the beam. That showed some real confidence there. As Edwards looks to finish out this routine, hits that handstand as she winds up for her double layout. Beautiful stuck landing. Talk about the routine in the middle of the lineup that you need.
Meanwhile, an excellent start from Jenna Wheats, who nearly planted her first pass. Hannah Cohen, senior, is on the beam for GW as well.
She goes into that front aerial split jump. Very nice. Finishes with that gainer full dismount, tiniest hop. Very nice routine in that second spot. Another very nice landing on the floor with the double pike for Towson. Again, nice routines in that second spot. Those landings for Towson on floor are definitely going to keep their scores consistent. As we look over to bars, seems to be a good score coming in.
Yeah, we get
cheers on this
we
side.
get the reaction before we get the score. It is a 9.85 for Tori Edwards.
And well-deserved. That was this season even probably the best routine we've seen out of her. So definitely a solid start for the Owls on the bars.
Well, and just not giving away those tenths on the landing. That nice floaty double layout, it just helps so much. And if Temple can get some of those sticks and start to clean up some of the things that have plagued them on bars, that gets them right back in the conversation.
Here we go into a blind full into Tkachev. Gave Castrense some issues last home meet, so it's great to see her make that into her bail to handstand. Winds up for her dismount. Double layout. Nice landing, chest up. Another hit routine for Temple. As we look over on the beam, this is a routine for GW that is unique. No backward skills besides that backward roll to start in the beginning, so always fun to see something different.
Yeah, and actually Kendall Whitman, who's in 3 events, everything she does is front facing. She's got a front entry vault, and she's got 3 E-passes on floor, all front passes. So really, really unique and a lot of fun to watch. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, and that vault you're talking about is actually named after her, so very excited to see that later on. She's gonna go into her front toss into that beat jump, very nice. Towson goes into that first pass, nice double back. Brokowski on floor heading into her second pass. Front layout into that front full, solid landing.
Meanwhile, Ariana Castrense has scored a season-best 9.875 on bars for Temple, and now up on the bars in the top right of your screen is junior Nicole Smith.
Starts with a nice toe on to Tkachev, heads into that bail, just short of handstand, but the form was very nice. She's gonna look to finish out strong with a blind full into her double tuck. Slight step forward, but again, that's exactly what Temple needs to build some confidence and have another hit routine.
Borkowski, meanwhile, finished up with a double pike, maybe a little bit pike down on that third pass for Borkowski, but Towson is halfway done on floor. They've got Amy Stewart, Paige Casper, and then a change at anchor. Sarah Giroux will finish up. Meanwhile, over on the beam, junior Deja Chambliss, who again, small sample size, there's only been 2 meets. She's still looking for her first hit routine of the year, trying to follow a 9.8 from freshman Kendall Whitman.
She starts out with her back handspring layout, step out, completely solid with no movement. So a good start over on the beam for her. Switch leap into her straddle quarter. Very nice in the air. Hit both of those splits into the 180. Split full. Difficult jump there, makes it look easy. Looks like she's getting ready to wind up for her dismount. She goes back handspring 2 foot, double twist, dismount, a tiny bit short, but makes it around, chest down a little bit. Overall, like Kevin said, a hit routine for her, definitely one that's gonna keep the team going confidently through the rest of the lineup.
They've got Catherine Scheck and freshman Annalise Silverman as the last 2 in the beam lineup for the Colonials. Over on floor, sophomore Amy Stewart, who has gone 9-9 on floor this year for the Tigers.
Heading into her first pass, a front layout into the Rudy. Just on that line, I did not see a hand go up. Maybe some luck of the judges and where they are sitting.
Yeah, I think as you're at home, obviously you're getting the overhead angle as we are here on our monitor. A little bit better view of it than the judges have at floor level.
Right into her second pass, double tuck. Another one close to the line but stays in. Nice landing.
Finishing up for Temple, meanwhile, is sophomore Madison Brooks on bars.
Goes toe on, toe off into Tkachev, into a very nice handstand as she transitions to the low bar. Finishes out with a nice handstand, keeps it controlled. Unfortunately, goes into that blind full, arches her back a little bit too much and comes down. Unfortunate for the Owls, but they are going to be happy that they did hit those first 5 routines.
Yeah, you're getting so close. Again, you know, it's only happened 1 time this year. The Temple has hit 6 for 6. You know, you want to be rounding into that kind of form here, and you know, it's just been tough going for Madison Brooks this year. She hasn't been able to put together a bars routine the way that we know that she's capable of, and so I know that'll be disappointing for her. We will get an exhibition from Juliana Rowland as well from Temple here.
GW over on the beam, slight wobble on that back handspring layout step out, but stays on.
This is Catherine Scheck, the sophomore for GW.
Nice side aerial, moving right along into her dance. And finishing up that beam routine with the side aerial, back full. Another solid beam routine for GW.
Over on floor exercise now for Towson is sophomore Paige Casper.
Absolutely gorgeous double pike to start. Lots of control, pretty much could have stuck it. Great height on that leap pass. Heads into her second pass. Front layout into that front full, very nice. Slight shuffle forward, but good height overall. And a 9-7 on beam for George Washington, which again had a slight wobble in that routine and still scores a great score. So just showing their capacity on the balance beam. As Towson heads into the last pass. Unfortunately, just doesn't quite get up the way she needed to. Did have to put her hands down on that double back. So looks like this is going to be a score they're going to hopefully be able to drop.
Yeah, and unfortunately some pressure now on the freshman Giraud, who was the late sub in there for junior Emerson Hurst. So we will keep an eye on that situation on floor. As over on beam in the anchor spot, speaking of freshmen in the anchor, here is Annalise Silverman.
Has a very nice side aerial there. Starting with a split half. Another difficult jump facing sideways on the beam. That switch leap, woof full, very nice. Into that front aerial, back handspring. Kept the connection well, even though her footing seemed to be a tiny bit off on that. So great skill for the freshman to be able to keep that going. As she finishes with the side aerial, back full, one step backwards, but a nice routine on the beam.
So GW not quite going to match the highs of their first rotation score with the 48.925 that they opened with. Over on bars, this is an exhibition routine for Temple from Juliana Rowland.
Very nice toe on, toe off, into a pack salto, half pirouette. Another toe onto that tiny sit up onto the high bar. Winds up into a double layout dismount. Nice landing. You know, a routine that they would have loved to possibly be able to count, but they are going to be happier this meet than they have been past couple of times on bars. So
yeah, for sure.
At least going into beam, feeling a little bit more confident.
Yeah, and I mean, she's such a talented gymnast. I think it's hard to think about Temple going into the postseason and not having her in the bars line. I mean, I just feel like, again, they're still kind of searching for the right combination, and Rowland has just been so good since coming to Temple from Bridgeport, and you know, she's got so much skill that I think you're right that I mean, that's an exhibition routine that could well make it into the top 6.
Absolutely, and we know Coach Nielsen has mentioned needing to shift the lineup around on bars a little bit, so we'll continue to work on that and figure out the best way possible to help them hit 6 for 6 on uneven bars.
We'll have a pressure set coming up here on floor for freshman Sarah Giraud following a 9-1 from Paige Casper. So Towson can drop that score and replace it with this if Giraud hits.
And on beam we had a 9.775, so another solid score for GW throughout their lineup as Giraud heads into her first pass on floor. Very nice double pike to start off, solid landing.
Exhibition beam routine for GW from senior Katia Karpova.
She starts out with a nice backhand spring layout step out. It's always nice to see some depth when you have these nice exhibition routines. Second pass on floor. with that front full front pike. It looked like she knew she was close to that line, was able to save it a little bit, but a little bit of a stumble on that landing. She gets ready right into her third pass. And finishes out with a Rudy slight shuffle forward, but again, a routine that they're going to now be able to count rather than a fall. And great to see from a freshman finishing out the lineup, put in suddenly. That is always what you want to see.
Yeah, huge moment there for Giroux. Well done to keep Towson in the conversation this meet. Got to give some credit to GW, by the way, for hitting beam again. Only 2 meets so far this year. They scored a 47-925 in their opener, 47-725 at NC State in week 2. 48-775 week 3. So that's just a great effort. I know that they felt that they were a better beam team than what they were able to show in their first 2 meets, and they have proved it tonight.
Yep, the trajectory is going in the right direction, so it's great for them to see and build confidence with only 3 meets, halfway 3 meets under their belt.
We will step away for a break. When we come back, we will update you on Giroux's score and update the Towson team total and give you our scores at the midpoint when we return here to Philadelphia. You're watching NCAA Gymnastics on ESPN. Welcome back. We are at the midpoint of tonight's tri-meet between Temple, George Washington, and Towson. Here are your scores. GW on top right now, 97-7. For the Colonials after a season-best score on beam. Towson steady as she goes, 97-575, and Temple, big improvement from rotation 1 to rotation 2. 48-250 on vault, season high, 48-925 on bars. And I'm Kevin Kopp alongside Casey Addis. Casey, certainly welcome news there for Temple as they get themselves back into the conversation with their best bar set of the year, even though there's only 5 hit routines, still some room for improvement.
Definitely, and they are looking. We've talked to Coach Nelson. He just wants to hit this year, and they've had a tough time kind of going 24 for 24, but they're going to look to continue to build some confidence, and hitting those bar routines is a great way for them to start doing that.
Let's go ahead and take a look at some highlights from the second rotation, and we will begin right where we just left off, which is Temple going to bars. And Casey, they really needed this after a subpar vault set, and they got some big routines again from upperclassmen. Junior Ariana Castrense, season high, and Tori Edwards came into the lineup with a 9.85 as well.
Yes, both of them hitting very nice routines. You see that double hail dismount, perfect stick, exactly what you're looking for to end a routine.
On balance beam, GW, which as we mentioned had struggled in their 2 meets this year. They had not cracked 48 yet as a team, and they got some big numbers as well. Hannah Cohen, their senior, 9.825, and Kendall Whitman matched her career high with a 9.8.
Again, the confidence for them on beam, it's spectacular considering this is only their 3rd meet of the year.
And on floor exercise, Towson was, again, their steadiness is, I think, what has been the best thing about them. No huge numbers here, but 9.825 from Jenna Wheats and a 9.85 from Amy Stewart. And then in a pressure spot, Sarah Giroux, only a 9.6, but she was following a fall. She was a late sub into the lineup. I think you have to give a lot of credit to her mental fortitude.
Absolutely. It just shows that what this young team is capable of doing and what the future looks like for them, and that's very exciting to see.
So we are getting ready to go on rotation number 3. Temple will be on balance beam, GW moves to floor, and Towson will move to vault. Towson, this is their best event. Vault, they are number 27 in the nation. It is their highest ranked event. They've got 2 sophomores, Lauren Bolin and Cami Vitoff, at the end of their lineup that have both gone 9-9 this year. And so, really interesting battle for first right now. GW is out in front with a 97-7. But Towson only 10th and a quarter behind, so they're hanging right there with the Colonials, and Temple has certainly put themselves back into the conversation. They're within shouting distance, but they have the most work to do as they go to beam and floor.
Absolutely. They're going to need to hit beam and do the floor that they know they're able to do, and it will definitely be a very tight competition. But again, what we are seeing, especially from this George Washington team, we can't say enough about it. Only having 3 meets this year, being on top, going in ahead, it's looking very good for them, and they must feel great about it.
And I mean, that's the great thing about the way that the NQS is structured this year. It's going to be interesting. You only need 4 meets. That's it. In the old RQS, which became NQS system, you needed 6. 3 had to be road scores. You drop the top, you average the next 5. Now if you get 4 meets in the books, as long as 2 of them are road scores, you're in. You're in the conversation. You've got a chance. And so, GW, even though they didn't begin their season until February 12th, I mean, it would take a truly, really great stretch here in March. They'd really have to, I mean, you kind of need 4 195s here in the month of March, but they can do it. They've got the talent.
Yes,
they were right there last year.
And I'm sure that right now they are just happy to be here, happy to be competing and get another meet underway. They're definitely not taking it for granted after this year.
Yeah, I think for all these teams, getting out of the practice gym is a win. For some of these teams, getting into the practice gym is a win.
Absolutely.
So here we go. GW on floor. They will be led off by 3 seniors. Rachel Kaplan, Anna Warhol, and Katya Karpova lead off the lineup for GW.
First pass, double pike, chest down a little bit, but has a nice landing.
Temple is on the beam. Jordan Oster leading off on beam as she did on bars. And momentarily we will have sophomore Jenna Wheats starting off on vault for Towson.
Second pass, back 1.5 front layout. Towson starting out with a Yurchenko full. A little bit of form in the air, but overall great height off of the vault and a very good landing.
And Oster comes off the beam for Temple. So,
tough to see in this leadoff spot. She is usually a steady gymnast for them on the beam. It's unusual for her, but definitely a start that is hopefully going to allow the team to not rattle them too much and keep moving forward.
It is indeed the first fall of the senior season for Jordan Oster, and she has earned this spot for multiple years. She has been such a solid leadoff.
As GW finishes floor, a little bit of a low Rudy there, but gets it to her feet and hits all 3 passes.
So Sid, Temple did so much good work to avoid putting pressure on themselves on bars by hitting their first 5 routines. They did have a fall from Madison Brooks in the 6th position, but now it's going to be all pressure all the time on beam, and they're going to need 5 in a row to stay in this meet and to try to get a counting home score. They're in one of the every once in a while you see a team like this where their road scores have been better than their home scores this year, and this double meet weekend is such a potential advantage for Temple, because if you can get 2 big scores at home where you typically have a chance to do so, they have probably as much potential as any other team around them to vault up their NQS score. And I think they're going to view it as a missed opportunity if they're not able to hit tonight.
I agree, and it's tough because then no matter how tonight goes, they're going to have to come back in here on Sunday and forget about it if it's not the meet they want, and if it's good, kind of build off that a little bit. But as of right now, this looks like a meet they're going to want to say, okay, we need to reset. We need to come in Sunday, get a better team score.
Up second on vault, junior Nikki Borkowski.
Absolutely beautiful form in the air. No leg separation. Toes were pointed. Another great Yurchenko full. Second in the lineup. That just shows, like we've talked about, the capacity of this lineup for the Tigers on vault.
And since Casey mentioned it, I will briefly plug as well. We will be back here Sunday afternoon, 4 p.m. start. It is senior day for Temple. They're taking on LIU. We just had a great conversation with Randy Lane, first-year head coach for the first-year program at LIU. We are really, really looking forward to seeing them here, and we hope that you will join us right back here on ESPN Plus Sunday at 4 o'clock.
Yes, they are going to be a team to watch in the Eagle as we continue to move forward, and that they continue to move forward, hopefully with a more normal season following this crazy first-year season for the program.
It was going to be crazy no matter what, but doing it during a pandemic, boy, just makes it that much more interesting, and they have done a great job, and we're excited to welcome them here to McGonigal Hall. Nikki Borkowski scored a 9.775 in the second spot after the opening 9.6 from Jenna Wheats. Jordan Oster 9.075, so that is obviously the number that Temple needs to drop.
Definitely adding a little bit of pressure here for Taylor Newland as she gets ready to start her routine with a very difficult mount. Definitely a pressure start to her routine.
Third vault coming up, Amy Stewart down the runway for Towson.
And another nice Yurchenko. The distance from the vault was incredible. We might need to make that longer
I was going to
she
say,
continues to do a vault like that.
Almost went into the tunnel.
And we see over on beam, Taylor Newland did make that front tuck onto the beam. Those always make me a little bit nervous, but you know, good start, good confidence there.
Senior Anna Warhol in the second spot for GW as well.
As she heads into her first pass on floor. Nice whip half into that front full. As Taylor Newland makes her series and then just finishes up a nice leap pass. Very nice double tuck middle pass. As Taylor finishes her routine with that cat leap, side summy into that back full. A hit routine for Temple, exactly what they were looking for in that pressure second routine. And another good score on vault for Towson with a 9.75. GW finishes up that floor routine.
As we said, 3 seniors to start off for GW. Kaplan Warhol and Katya Karpova will be up third. Olivia Zona fourth. Freshman Kendall Whitman fifth. And Sydney Krasa will be the anchor. She is a fourth senior in this veteran GW lineup. 8 seniors overall on the Colonials roster. Back on vault.
Another unique vault. We're going to see 2 different unique vaults today. So that's always great to see with a different type of entrance as that round off to that front on.
That's freshman Allie Zolke. We still have 2 sophomores, Lauren Bolin and Cami Vitoff, at the end of the Towson vault lineup. Just a moment here while we're waiting on 3 scores. The rest of the Temple beam lineup now, you got a couple of freshmen back-to-back in the middle, but boy, they have both been great this year for the Owls. Brooke Donabedian will be up third. Renee Shugman will be fourth. They have both scored 9.825 this season, and then the 2 juniors, Juliana Roland and Ariana Castrense, and will be in the 5 and 6 spots for the Owls. Looks like judges need to get together to discuss Newland's routine further. We have a 9.7 meanwhile for Allie Zolke. So Towson's been kind of stuck in that 9.7 range. An opening 9.6 is the low score. Lauren Bolin getting ready to go 5th.
Gonna look to build a little bit on these final 2 vaults. Again, no bad scores, no low scores really, but definitely some build that they're gonna look to do at these last 2 vaults.
And we'll start with Lauren Bolin.
Beautiful form in that Yurchenko full. Slight hop back, likely could have stuck it. She really seemed like to plant that landing, but slight hop back, but should be a solid score.
Yeah, I would say the cleanest of the 5 so far for Towson, so we'll see if that can maybe crack into the 9.8 range. Meanwhile, over on floor is Katya Karpova.
Just doesn't quite get that punch on that Rudy she needed. Doesn't quite get it around and does land on her side, unfortunately.
So this will be the first real fall for GW. They had that 9.375 on bars with the foot drag. So, you know, some work to do now for GW on floor, facing some adversity, and they'll have Zona, Whitman, and Krasa as their last 3 in the floor lineup.
Yes, this will be a routine they'll look to drop, as she just went out of bounds on that second pass. So another slight error there. So she'll look to finish up, but they're going to hope to drop this score.
Bolin did indeed score a 9-8 for Towson, and so Cami Vitoff remains in the anchor spot for the Tigers. And after that lengthy conversation with the beam judges, we finally have a score for Taylor Newland, and we will soon see Brooke Donabedian on the beam. It was a 9-5-2-5 for Newland. The Temple will have to count.
Yep, again, they're going to really want to build as they get through the last of these routines. Definitely some pressure added, and again, just not the meet that they were looking to have tonight.
No, and it just kind of started on a sour note with vault. Had some lower scores in the first half of the routine, or the first half of the rotation, and just have not quite got over the hump yet. But they've got some great individual talent here, and we'll begin with Donabedian. Meanwhile, on vault, Cami Vitoff.
Again, a very nice. There is the 1.5 that was the first we were going to see tonight, and starting from that 10-0, a little bit of a squatty landing, which really was a surprise because she had so much height, just maybe wasn't prepared for that landing, but again, a very nice vault.
I'm trying to remember now if when we saw Vitoff the first time this year back in January, I don't think it was a 1.5. I don't know if that's been upgraded.
No, he did mention when we spoke that they were ready for it, prepped for it, but wasn't sure if they were going to debut it yet. So it looks like as they've gone through the season, they've definitely added that, and the potential is there.
I'm wondering, based on the reaction from Jay Ramirez right there, he was really fired up. I'm wondering if that was the first time they had put it in this season, and it looks like they're going to be rewarded for it. A 9.875 is the score there. Even with some trouble on the landing, you start from that 10-0. I mean, difficulty's rewarded. Yeah,
yes, that is true.
Yeah, so Vitoff just a 1/4 off her season high. Meanwhile, a good hit routine from Donabedian.
Yes, she has been, like you mentioned, young and steady for the Owls on the balance beam. So definitely someone they're going to look forward to keeping in that lineup, and she seems to get things back under control. Hopefully we'll be able to finish strong for the team.
So Towson has wrapped up on vault, and sure enough, that was their best event of the night so far. But again, they've been in that high 48 range all night. They're kind of on that mid to high 195 pace right now. We'll see what they do on the uneven bars to wrap up the meet. But really nice finish there from their two sophomores, Bolin and Vitoff, going a 9.8 or higher.
And we turn to floor. We've got Olivia Zona heading into her routine for the night.
And again, as we've kind of talked about, like Temple on beam, here you go now, following a fall. You've got pressure on these next three, Zona, Whitman, and Krasa.
Heading into her first pass. 1.5 to lay out, very nice. And a score that Temple is going to be very pleased with on the beam. Definitely what they're looking for as they continue into this back half of the lineup.
9.875, a new career high for Brooke Donabedian.
And a nice double tuck for Zona on floor. Gets that chest up, is a little low.
On the beam now, freshman Renee Shugman on the left side of your screen as Zona continues on floor.
Resets from that front aerial, looking to get the connection here. Front handspring into that front aerial, gets into that arabesque. Slight wobble, but recovers very nicely. Does cat leap into that side summy. Unfortunately, just comes off, doesn't quite get the control that she needs. And again, that does mean Temple will be counting a fall on beam. It's hard to see. You see the talent that these girls have on this team and just not being able to pull it together. It's very frustrating for them this season, but they're gonna have to put this one behind them as they head into, again, a meet Sunday like we mentioned.
Yeah, and it's always tough, too, when it comes from unexpected places, right? As we said, Oster, who has been, like, I mean, there's not anyone more rock steady on this team probably than Jordan Oster, and that's why she's been in that spot for as long as she has. First fall of the year. Shugman, first fall of her career as a freshman. You know, these things happen, but it is tough, you know, when they come from, you know, gymnasts that, again, you just by this point in the year you have come to expect hit routines from.
Yes, and we've mentioned it before that, you know, Oster is a gymnast that could be last in the lineup.
Yeah.
She has been so confident. Her skill level is very high on the event, and they put her in that first spot to be a hit routine. So it's difficult, and you can't be on every meet, but it's just unfortunate when you see it, kind of the domino effect that happens when you have a couple falls.
How about, speaking of responses to a fall, Olivia Zona, 9.875, season high score for GW, so that gets the Colonials back on track. 2 routines now, and this is one to keep an eye on. Kendall Whitman, as we've said, the freshman, 3 E passes in this routine for GW, all front-facing passes.
Yes, and she's going to do one of my favorite passes in gymnastics here. Very difficult. You don't see it often, but a nice double front, so it should be a fun routine to watch. And very nice. Sky High has a tiny issue on the landing with that step forward, but overall, beautiful pass. And this is another very difficult pass that she's going to be doing. Should be a front double full into a layout. Pulls it out very close to the line, and from somebody who did a front double full, I can't imagine doing a front layout out of it. So very impressive, to say the least.
I mean, it did not have a ton of amplitude on it, and just great job to pull it out.
Yes, because that is, I mean, she likely got close to 4 or 5 tenths of bonus on that pass, so it was definitely important for her to make that pass. Definitely a front tumbling and front-facing gymnast, which some people have that preference. And she'll finish with that same front double full. Very nice. All E passes. Very, very impressive.
Yeah, Casey, we've been having, you know, an ongoing conversation, you and I, this year about the 3-pass versus 2-pass trend in NCAA gymnastics. 3 passes and all E's. I love it. And from a freshman. It's tremendous.
Truly, that is exactly what you're looking for. Someone who doesn't, if they don't need to, does not need to water down, keeps that difficulty, and it's impressive to say the least.
And things, unfortunately, for Temple just go from bad to worse as Juliana Rowland will take a fall on beam. That's the 3rd for Temple tonight.
And it does go to show, you know, when those nerves hit, when people fall before you, you know, we've talked about Rowland and how consistent she's been for the Owls this year. You know, you can see how that can get in your head and the pressure can get to you, and it's unfortunate to see tonight.
Yeah, and again, I hate to sound like a broken record. Rowland hasn't fallen this year. So all 3 falls, all first-time falls for Temple.
And finishes with that 1.5, but unfortunately another fall. And talk about adding some pressure to Castrense to at least hit a routine here and keep that score, keep their heads above water with that final score.
Yeah, Castrense has a 9.9 to her credit this year. Meanwhile, over on floor exercise, this will be the final routine for GW, and again, a very important one. If they can get a hit routine here from their senior Sydney Krasa, they can drop a fall.
She does that front through to double pike. Excellent landing, plants those feet. A nice 1.5. Not quite sure if that was supposed to be a pike or a layout, but does get the connection, which is most important. As she goes in that tour jeté, straddle full. Strensay starting on the beam, looking for a hit routine here. As Krasa heads into that final pass, another beautiful double tuck, and exactly what they needed to finish without needing to count a fall. Very nice from GW.
I mean, just the celebration started as soon the moment that she landed that third pass. I love it. Great emotion from Krasa. And I mean, GW, they knocked it out after that fall. Olivia Zona 9.875, Whitman a 9.8, and that routine should score very nicely for Krasa. Great stuff.
Yes. And looking over on the beam, Strensay did stay on the beam on that one arm back handspring layout step out. Slight wobble, but again, looking to stay on the beam for this routine. Switch half into that flutter. Strensay does have a quick routine, which will benefit her when it comes to needing to stay on the beam, so she's gonna look to hit this round off double twist and finish off the beam lineup for the Owls, and an unfortunate one that I'm sure they're gonna need a big reset as they head to an event that will help keep their team score, where it needs to be.
Sydney Krasa, meanwhile, 9.875 season high score. GW 49 on floor. And 49's that magic number, right? You put 4 of those together, that's a 196. And that is just great stuff from GW.
Absolutely, and like you mentioned, we keep talking about it, but to see this as their third meet, getting those numbers, it's what they need.
Again, just picture, this is, to them, it's January 21st, It's like, that's the kind of mindset you have to put yourself in, and it's just great stuff that we've seen from them. Yeah,
when we talk about being, 8+ weeks into the season, and most of these teams having 8 or so meets, this is what they're looking for, and an exhibition here with a nice double back.
We will also see an exhibition from Temple on beam, and that will be freshman Serena Whalen.
I think we say this a lot, but sometimes doing exhibitions after a rough rotation, sometimes, if it's a hit, can make you feel a little bit worse. But, it's a great opportunity for her to come up and show, hey, I can make a routine, and potential for her in the lineup.
Strensay, by the way, had a 9.8, so that will at least drop one of the falls for Temple.
Does stay on the beam, turns her hips sideways on the handspring layout step out, but is able to save it. That split half. Shape into that switch half, a little low and a little short on that 180-degree split.
I know we were a little late identifying her. That was Peyton Lynch, the exhibition routine for GW on floor.
Again, the team was very excited about that hit.
She scored a 9.8, so.
Talk about, like we've been saying, depth and the importance of that. If you need someone in and out, we saw it work out for Towson on the floor when you need that last-minute lineup change, so that is where it definitely becomes important for these teams.
Yeah, good stuff there from Peyton Lynch, who has been in the floor lineup, has not had a hit routine yet, freshman out of Highlands Ranch, Colorado. So great potential there, and great work for GW. They go 49 on floor. Towson puts together their high score of the night on vault, 48.9, and GW able to extend their lead because of their great work on floor. Temple struggles on the balance beam, and the Owls remain in third place. One rotation to go. We'll step away. When we come back, Temple goes to floor, GW to vault, and Towson finishes the night on the uneven bars. You're watching NCAA Gymnastics on ESPN. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Final rotation on the way. Here is where we currently stand And you've got GW out in front with a 146.7, 49 on floor for the Colonials in that third rotation. Towson had their best rotation of the night so far as well, 48.9 on vault, but they have slipped to 2 1/4 behind GW for the lead. And Temple, as you can see there, 47.725, 3 falls on beam, had to count 2 of them, 144.9. The Owls do go to their best event, probably out of it in terms of tonight's team competition, but momentum important, Casey, as Temple's going to be right back here on this floor. We'll be right back here Sunday at 4 o'clock taking on LIU. And, you know, if you can hit a solid floor rotation, you feel good about yourself going into that Sunday meet. You might get a good score out of that can help you down the road.
Yes, they're definitely going to need a little bit of a push here on floor because, as you said, out of the competition tonight, very close one between GW and Towson, but they're going to look to just finish out the competition on a strong note tonight and come back Sunday reset and refreshed.
Meanwhile, for GW and Towson, they have to be feeling great about the way things are going, especially GW, and should be a very interesting battle to the finish here between these two teams, which have Eagle Championship aspirations.
Absolutely, and we're going to see good things from both teams on these next 2 events. So, again, they're going to look for hit routines because it is going to matter in this competition on who does end up on top.
There is a look at Margie Cunningham, head coach for George Washington. Again, just the 3rd meet of the season. They didn't get to open until February 12th. She is in her 36th season at the helm in Foggy Bottom.
Definitely probably the most unique season that she's had in those 36 years, so she's going to learn how to adjust, and I'm sure she has in many other ways.
Yeah, whether you've been doing this for 1 year or 36, this is, you know, everyone's going through such a unique season. And there is Jay Ramirez, the head coach of the Towson Tigers' 2nd season. And again, I know we said it earlier, I'll say it again, what a job he has done to get this team, which has not been to regionals in a long, long time. They are in position. They've got it out in front of them. They are ranked 31st in the country right now. Let's take a look at some highlights, Casey, from the 3rd rotation. And we are going to start over on the balance beam. There were some lowlights, but there were some good things as well, including from Brooke Donabedian, the freshman, who really continues to impress for Temple.
She does, and it was a key routine for sure. That's what they needed kind of in the middle of that lineup. Again, like we said, not the rotation that they needed, but, you know, we had these 2 routines that scored high enough to, you know, not send them down too far.
Career high 9.875 there from Donabedian. On floor exercise, GW goes 49 as a team. They had a pair of 9.875s, this one from Olivia Zona.
Again, and as we mentioned during a fall, adding pressure to some of these gymnasts, and they delivered, and it was great to see some great landings, and like you said, that 49, very important.
Yeah, and Sydney Crassa there in the anchor spot. You can see how fired up she was, about a season-best 9.875. And Towson over on vault didn't quite hit those same high scores, but got good numbers from their anchors, Bolin and 9.8, and then Cami Vitoff, 9.875, pulling out the 1.5.
Yes, starting with that 10-0 start value, rewarded for it, scored the highest, and, you know, it's great to see.
And now we will get ready for the 4th and final rotation. Temple is on floor. This is their best event by far. They are 23rd in the nation on floor exercise. And so, again, tonight's score, not one that's going to really help Temple in the long run with their NQS. But if you're just watching at home, this will be a fun team to watch on floor for sure. And, you know, as we said, this can help set the tone for Sunday afternoon's senior day. GW will finish on vault, and then Towson will finish on bars, where they are 31st in the nation. Remember, GW leading Towson by 0.225, so certainly within the margin of a potential comeback for Towson here in the 4th and final rotation. This will be a good one to watch, as GW will turn to senior Sydney Crassa to lead off on vault. Lauren Bolin is on the bars, and on the floor is Jordan Oster.
Starting off with a bang on vault with a Yurchenko full stuck landing. Not the highest in amplitude we'll see tonight, but probably the best landing we've seen thus far.
Just loving the emotion tonight from Crassa. She has been a senior leader, exactly what GW needs.
Yes, and a nice routine to start off for the bar lineup as we look over to floor as well for the Owls.
Yeah, Oster, who leads off 3 events for Temple. bars, beam, and floor. She had that very uncharacteristic fall on beam, trying to make up for it here and start the floor rotation.
Yes, always steady for the Owls, so looking to ignore what she did on beam as she finishes up this floor routine, because it will be an important start for the team tonight. Has a nice double pike, over rotates a little bit, but does stay in bounds, so that was very important.
Krasa started with a 9.75 for GW. Here is fellow senior Anna Warhol.
Gets that Yurchenko half. Almost, looked like she could have lost it a little bit, but was able to save that landing. Does have to step backwards, which is not always ideal on the vault, but it stays on her feet, and that's what they need.
Yeah, got that around without having too much block off the table, so that's a good job by a senior, knowing how to adjust and save that one for GW. So she does the rest of the vault lineup: Hannah Munnelly, Deja Chambliss, Kendall Whitman, and Catherine Scheck. Back on bars now after Lauren Bolin opened up with a 9.725. Here is senior Tess Zientek.
Nice handstand there. Finishes with a solid handstand as she winds up into that blind full to the double back. Finishes that blind right on top of the bar, which is exactly what you're looking for. So very nice.
Meanwhile, up second on floor for Temple is freshman Renee Shugman. This follows an opening 9.75 from Jordan Oster.
First pass, back 1.5 to front full. Difficult pass, very nice landing. So we look at GW on vault. Gets that tuck full. Nice landing. Not the most difficult vault we will see tonight, but again, doing the full, getting a nice landing, they're going to hope to build on those scores. As Shugman over on the floor, heads into her final pass. Double pike, perfect stick there. Great second routine and a good night for her.
Over on bars after a 9.825 from Zientek, here is freshman Sarah Giroux.
That bail to handstand right into that hiccup. Nice handstand there as she's winding up for her full in to a stuck landing. Very nice. And you can see the team's reaction. They are thrilled as well.
Yeah, and you got GW who just put up a 9.675 from Hannah Munnelly, so halfway home, GW's in that 9.6, 9.7 range. Towson's in that 9.7, 9.8 range, and the margin is getting razor thin between these two.
Absolutely. It's definitely going to be neck and neck as they head into the back half of these lineups and as they, build on some of the difficulty as well.
And Renee Shugman has a new career high 9.875 for Temple. So great start for the Owls through their first two, and now another freshman who has a career high earlier on beam. That is Brooke Donabedian, as we just saw the vault from Deja Chambliss.
Beautiful vault. Very high, gets a great block off the horse. Form was great, landing was great. That is definitely a vault score that they're going to look forward to.
Next vaulter for GW, keep an eye out. That is Kendall Whitman, who will be doing the Whitman, named for her in the Coda Points. So keep an eye out for that in the bottom of your screen.
And as Donabedian does a very nice Rudy layout step out. Beautiful to watch on floor.
Chambliss, 9-9 on vault for GW.
Talk about not giving away much. When it starts from a 9.95, you can't ask for too much better than that.
And that'll get GW right back into the conversation after those 9.6s and 9.7s. 9-9 for the Colonials, trying to hang on here in the final rotation.
Donna Bedian heads into her last pass. Finishes with that front double full, ending with an E and that bonus. Just beautiful on floor.
And the freshman has been great in her debut season for Temple. Back to vault now, and here is Kendall Whitman.
You see that front handspring on the board, front handspring on the vault, pike half, named after her. Very well done and very difficult as well.
Yeah, needless to say, also a 10-0 start value vault, so you've got the added difficulty in there as well.
You know, you have to love when you see gymnasts doing something unique. We do see a lot of the same types of routines in college gymnastics. So whenever you see that change up a little bit, you know, gets the judges' eyes opened up and excited, and you know, that is when you're usually rewarded for some of that difficulty.
Yeah, it's a really veteran GW team. In fact, she is the only one of only 2 freshmen that is in any lineup tonight for GW, and she's in 3. So she has been quite a find for Marjorie Taylor Cunningham, as we're on bars now for sophomore Cami Vitov.
That was a nice save as she finished that Jaeger into the bail, a little short, has some issues with her grip going into her dismount, but wow, winds up into that full in off the bar to a stick. I mean, talk about knowing how to handle any issue that comes your way.
Yeah, she almost gave a little kind of shake of the head to Jay Ramirez, her head coach there. Like, she pulled it off.
You know, it's always impressive to see, and that's when you know that this is a team that I'm sure in the gym is working through any issues that they come across and are able to finish routines, and it pays off when something goes wrong or could go wrong in competition. Now we look at Juliana Rowland on floor, as she's another that's going to look to forget that beam rotation and make a nice floor routine.
GW finishes up there with Catherine Scheck in the anchor spot on vault. So the Colonials hit vault, and now the question is, will it be enough, as we see what Towson can do to try to catch them.
Yes, and Rowland starts off her floor routine with a nice double pike, sticks the landing. Nice leap pass there. Into her next pass, front layout, front full, very solid landing. Rowland heading into her third and final pass. Finishes with a double tuck, lands a little bit short, but is able to keep it on her feet and recover nicely for another made routine.
GW, meanwhile, finishes with a 9.775 from Catherine Scheck. And how about this? The Colonials go 195.625. First meet, they're below a 193. Second meet, mid 193. Here they are, 195.625.
So impressive to see, and what they are doing in the gym when they're not competing has definitely paid off for them.
Second to last routine tonight. This is Amy Stewart, the sophomore for Towson.
Has a nice pack salto in the middle of that routine, saves that final handstand. Again, talk about knowing how to handle things that go wrong, to another double layout dismount, stuck. Just incredibly impressive to see. It is, again, we keep harping on the young team, but you know, when you have a lot of freshman, sophomore gymnasts in your lineup, it is impressive to see them knowing how to handle pressure and seeing this team hit their routines.
They have 3 routines out of 24 from juniors or seniors. That's 21 routines from freshmen and sophomores. It's wild.
And I mean, you can look at a lot of teams across the country that maybe have 1 or 2 freshmen in lineups at all. Plenty that maybe with exhibition, but for them to have so many freshmen and sophomores, they are going to have some very successful years ahead of them. And if he continues recruiting the way he has, he is doing something right in this second season.
Yeah, I mean, you're 31st in the country right now with this team as freshmen and sophomores. I mean, just think about where that leads you the next couple of years. I think it's awesome for Towson.
You know, and you have a lot of freshmen that come in, maybe don't compete, get into their sophomore year, have to get some of those kinks out, not used to competing, but they're getting it out of the way right away, and it's going to lead to some serious success.
9.875 for Stewart, so they are already above a 49 on bars, and this is going to be really close. Ali Zulke getting ready to finish up for Towson. Meanwhile, Ariana Castrense is on floor. A 9.825 for Castrense on floor will break her own program all-around record for Temple. A lot of drama here with these two routines.
A nice ray to start on bars as Castrense heads into that beautiful double layout. Said it last time, I'll say it again. It has improved from last year, more controlled. It's looking very nice. Line full into that double tuck dismount. Another stuck landing. Coach Ramirez over on the side, jumping up and down. Talk about an excellent way to end the meet for the Towson Tigers.
By my unofficial count, they would need a 9.875 to win the meet. 9.85 would tie, 9.875 would win.
Woo, talk about a close one.
It's going to be right on the number. Let's see. Meanwhile, we get to check out Castrense full screen here.
As she finishes her routine with the 2-pass routine, so this will be her last pass right here. Goes into that whip half to Rudy. Is able to get that landing under control. Has a little bit of a big lunge, but again, to her feet. Very solid routine for Castrense. We'll have one more floor routine for Temple with Faith Leary closing out this lineup. Still waiting for the score there on bars. Team patiently awaiting as well. As we look over to floor, we hear Temple cheering.
It is a 9.875 for Zulke, but I believe there was a score that came in on floor that we had missed. That's why I always like to caution, our running score is unofficial. It's not official until it's signed, sealed, and delivered. So we'll just sit tight on this number. I will say, Towson's going to feel very good about their bars, going 49.175 on bars, 195.650 for the meet, but we have them behind GW. That score will be a 195.7 because of a late change on floor. I don't know if it was an inquiry after the rotation or just something that got changed, but I think that GW is going to have enough to hang on.
Wow. I mean, talk about an excellent meet for both teams, going at it right until the end. As we finish up the meet on floor for Temple, looking to finish out the floor lineup strong so they can head into their meet Sunday feeling better. And Leary heading into her first pass front layout into a very nice Rudy. Great amplitude. Second pass went up, which is exactly what you want to see on those bounding passes. Switch half into Popa. Some beautiful legs and pointed toes in the air. Getting ready, the team cheering her on for this final pass. She finishes with a beautiful double tuck, sky high. Finishes out the rotation for Temple on a strong note. Exactly what they needed to finish out this meet that they've struggled through a bit. You can see the excitement from her and the teammates. Definitely what they needed in order to build some of that confidence as they head in to this dual meet weekend.
So as you look at the score on the bottom of your screen, that is how close it ends up being. GW got a few half-tenths back on floor from Kaplan and Warhol, a little bit higher than we had their scores in our running total. And so Zolke's 9.875 on bars. I thought that was going to be enough. It actually leaves Towson half a tenth short at a 195.650, 195.7 for GW. Again, that is 2 points higher than their previous season high. We do have to mention Ariana Castrense, 9.875 on floor, 39.350 in the all-around. That is a new program record, and she is going to finish her Temple career owning, however many, the top, 10 spots in the all-around by the time she's done.
Absolutely, and I know that they are very excited to have her back in the all-around after, having a very short preseason, not being able to train for, 6 months. So they are definitely going to continue to look forward to her scores throughout this season.
Faith Leary has a 9.875 in the anchor spot. And Temple, give them credit. Short memory. They put bars and beam behind him. 49.275 on floor exercise.
Yes, like we said, this is a floor team. They do extremely well. They have depth, so they're going to look to continue to build on these scores. And, like we said, short memory, go into Sunday looking forward to something new and better. We have a nice back 1.5 to a front layout. Second pass here, double tuck, very nice landing. Switch half to Popa. And a solid exhibition routine. Again, now we've got 7 routines that were made. Definitely a solid floor lineup, floor team here for Temple.
So with that, we will take one final break and come back to wrap up this night. Plenty to be celebrated for all 3 of our teams this evening. We will come back and wrap this one up from McGonigal Hall. You're watching NCAA Gymnastics on ESPN. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're here inside McGonigal Hall. Kevin Kopp and Casey Addis. And here are your final scores as we wrap this one up from Philadelphia. GW with an impressive victory tonight in this tri-meet, a 195.7 for the Colonials. They really did well at the end, 49.075 on floor, 48.925 in their final 2 rotations. Towson made a furious charge, 49.150 on bars in the final rotation. Looked like it might have been enough there, and all the numbers get added up and the quarters of tenths come in, and Towson finishes up just a tenth and a half short, 195.550. Still a very good road score for Towson as they look to stay ahead of the NCAA bubble, stay in that top 36. And tough night tonight for Temple as the home team. They just dug themselves a hole on vault, couldn't get out of it. They had some real struggles on beam, but look at that floor score, 49.275. They've been so great on floor all year, and they had the best floor score of the night, including Ariana Castrense, Casey, who sets the new program record in the all-around with a 39.350.
Yes, you can hear that in the background. The team is thrilled with that. She's going to be someone to keep an eye out for in the all-around for Temple. Again, some improvements for them to be made by Sunday for their next home meet. But again, George Washington and Towson leaving this away meet, feeling very confident as they head into the end of this season.
Well, let's go back and look at the highlights from what was really a wild final rotation, Casey. I mean, we had a lot going on, some individual scores on the Temple side that were of note, and then obviously the back-and-forth team competition between GW and Towson. So let's start on floor exercise, and we'll start with the freshman Renee Shugman, who has continued to impress this whole season. She had a 9.875.
Yes, look, just by those landings, you can tell there wasn't much to take away from as we look at Castrense going into that double out. Just absolutely beautiful form in the air, good height off the floor, exactly what you're looking for.
9.875, and she again has a new program all-around record, 39.350. Great vault rotation for GW, and Deja Chambliss had the 9.9. That was the high water mark for the Colonials.
Great landings overall, and then we see the Whitman there with that front handspring on, front off. Pike half off. It is impressive and a lot to say.
And then Towson, you had the last two routines of the night. I mean, these were, they probably didn't know how much pressure there was. We thought we knew because we were crunching the numbers up here. We were trying to as best we could. But Amy Stewart and Allie Zolke in those final two spots, 2 9.875s. And Towson has got to feel thrilled with what they did tonight. And they're going to be heard from. And, they look like a regional team to me.
Absolutely. And I mean, like we've said, they have shown off what they're able to do. They really put an exclamation point on this meet for them on the uneven bars. So a lot of good gymnastics that we saw in that last rotation.
And Casey, we get to come back and do it all again in 2 days. We hope that you will join us Sunday at 4 o'clock. Temple hosts LIU. It'll be our first chance to see LIU in their first year as a program. It will be senior day for Temple, and Casey, we're really looking forward to being back here for that one.
Absolutely. Temple's looking to reset. LIU's coming in. They had a late start to their season, and they're looking to get a nice road score, so it will be definitely a fun meet to watch.
All right, well, that will wrap up our night tonight from McGonigal Hall. For my partner, Casey Addis, I'm Kevin Kopp saying so long from Philadelphia, where GW takes this tri-meet with a season-high 195.7, Towson in second, and Temple in third. All meets airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.